What's good with it, do YouTube? Your boy Natepushweights, back with another Modern Warfare video. Today we're going to be talking about the specs for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Now, if you're watching this video, the game has not come out yet. I'm sure there's going to be updates and stuff, bug fixes. So basically we're going to be talking about all of the hardware specs right now before the release. After release, obviously things will change, but let's get right into it. Of course, if you're running on PC, I'm mainly going to be talking about PC. I'm not really talking about consoles. These consoles are kind of limited. So, for instance, PS4, Xbox, you're not really going to be able to run the game above 60 frames per second, if that makes any sense. Now, let's get right into it. But before we get into it, please hit that like button for me. Thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And comment below of what, console or PC you're playing this game on. And let's get right into it. Here we go. Now, the minimum requirements are going to be very, very stiff. Okay, now if you're running Windows 7 in 2019, I don't really know what to say to you, but Windows 10 is obviously preferred. But, if you have Windows 7, you're good to go. Windows 7, 64-bit, you're good. But, if you have Windows 10, that'll be good too as well. Now, it's gonna require DirectX 12 compatible system, which is basically similar graphics that you need. Now, your CPU must be a Core i3 4340 or an AMD FX 6300. Okay, now this is the minimum requirements, remember. Now, your video card, which is the GPU, must be a GeForce NVIDIA GTX 670 or above, obviously. Now, if you have anything under that, you're not going to be able to run this game at all, okay? Because that's the minimum specs, remember. Now, also, you could run, obviously, a, GTX 1650 as well, and a Radeon HD 7950. I don't even know if that's good or not, but if you have it, it's good for you. Now, your RAM, you need 8 gigabytes minimum of RAM. Anything lower, if you have 4 or 6, you're not going to be able to play the game. You're not going to be able to download it. Just giving you guys a heads up. Your hard drive, this game is big. Pause. This game is big. It has a lot of space that you need on your memory. Obviously, if you're a console player, you're gonna be eating up a lot of space already. But for PC players, 175 gigabytes of hard drive space that you need. Just so you guys know, have that memory saved and be ready. But okay, next is obviously you need an internet connection. Obviously, you need that for like everything nowadays. And your sound card, it really doesn't matter, but DirectX compatible is great. Now, recommended specs right here. Recommended. We recommend you have these specs. If you're playing on PC, obviously, you're gonna need these specs to be able to run 60 frames per second or more in most situations, with medium settings, basically. Now, it's going to require a Windows 10. If you have Windows 10, that's great. If you don't, you're not going to be able to run 60 frames per second on PC at minimum frame rate. Or minimum settings, I'm sorry. Now, as far as CPU goes, man, your Core i5 is needed, 2500. AMD Ryzen R5 1600X processor as well. Now that's basically the recommended. You obviously don't have to have a Core i5, but it'll be pretty good for your system. You're not gonna run into any crashes or overheat issues with the core, which is good. As far as your GPU goes, they recommend you have at least a GeForce GTX 970 or a Radeon R9 390, or also an AMD RX 580. Now, you need this in order to run this game at a recommended settings at 60 frames per second. In order to get that 60 frames, you kind of need a 970 and above. Let's be real. Now, my laptop that I have, it is a 970. I'll actually show you guys. My laptop I have is a 970. It is by Asus. It is Republic of Gamers, that edition. It has a 970M graphics card in it by NVIDIA, and it also is a i7 core, CPU processor. So I had this baby for about 2 years now, and it's great for gaming and stuff. So I mean, if you have a laptop that is capable of running a good graphics card, good for you. Now, as far as the RAM, I had an 8 GB RAM card in this, but with recommending for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they're recommending a 12 GB RAM card, and I actually did upgrade to a 12 GB RAM with my laptop because I'm able to upgrade certain things of parts. Now, yeah, 12 GB of RAM you're gonna need recommended. I recommend that too as well. If you're a streamer and you're trying to basically stream and game on the same PC at the same time, you're gonna at least need 12 GB of RAM. Let's be real. 12 GB of RAM or more, pretty much. Now, as far as space goes, it's the same thing. You need 175 GB of hard drive space, and obviously an internet connection. Now, the recommended specs for additional. The additional recommended specs for Call of Duty to have ray tracing and all the beautiful graphics, basically. Okay, just beautiful graphics. Be real. Now here we go. Obviously, you need Windows 10. Okay, then you need a Intel Core processor of i5 2500K. Okay, or an AMD Ryzen R5 1600X processor. As far as the video card goes, the GPU must be an NVIDIA G4 RTX 2060. No other graphics card. So, AMD, you're not going to get that beautiful ray tracing, obviously. NVIDIA, yes, of course you are. If you have a 2060, you're good to go. If you have a 2080, you're not going to get the ray tracing. As far as 16 GB of RAM that is needed for the recommended specs to get ray tracing and basically beautiful graphics, 16 GB of RAM, that's what you need. Not 12, not 14, not 13, not 15, if that's even possible. You need 16 GB of RAM. All right, and 175 GB of hard drive space, of course, and also an internet connection. Now, as far as competitive specs, now these are for the pros, the people that are trying to fly around the map and just go crazy. Now, recommended specs on PC, this is for the highest frame rate and the highest refresh monitor, everything to be the best player in multiplayer. You need Windows 10, of course, i7 8700K or AMD Ryzen 1800X for your CPU. And now for your GPU, your video card, you need your NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 and RTX 2070 Super or Radeon RX Vega graphics card. I actually never heard of that. Hopefully it's good. But if you have that, you're good to go. Your competitive specs are basically up there. And also you need 16 GB of RAM. I don't honestly think you need 16 GB of RAM for that, but you probably do, I guess. If they're saying you need 16 GB of RAM to be a competitive spec PC player, then you need it. And also, of course, 175 GB hard drive space to download the game. And an internet connection. Now for your Ultra RTX specs, okay? RTX is finally here. Ultra RTX is finally here. Now, if you have that great graphic card, I'm talking the 2080, that graphics card that goes for like 3,000 or whatever. Now, obviously, ultra graphics are for 4K resolutions. If you have that graphics card, God bless you. But this is for ray tracing in your high frames per second. You probably hit like a good 150 frames per second at minimum. But your specs need to be Windows 10, of course, for your OS. You need Intel i7 9700K, your AMD Ryzen 2700X, and also your GPU, like I said again, has to be the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Super. Okay, it has to be the greatest graphics card that's out right now. For your RAM, you need 16 GB, obviously 175 GB of hard drive space, and an internet connection. And that's pretty much it for as far as graphics and stuff, and the official specs that you need, from minimum specs, the recommended graphic specs, and also competitive specs, and also the 4K specs for Modern Warfare this year. If you have that, or if you're trying to basically get the game and, you know, get your PC parts and figure out what you can do to basically have the best graphics and the best frame rate for your game, so you can win more games and, you know, just overall be the best. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope I answered your questions on, you know, the minimum requirements and all the requirements needed for this game for PC. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be streaming Call of Duty Modern Warfare this year every day on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch. Come check out the streams at twitch.tv/Natepushweights or in the link in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Matrix.